What's up everyone, OJ here, welcome back to another video. And Capcom, more like Yoshinori Ono, who is the current Street Fighter producer, he said something interesting at a recent event where he talked about Nintendo's involvement with Street Fighter, also what Sakurai thinks about having Blanca in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, and essentially what he ended up saying, I'm going to read the quotes to you guys, but essentially what he says here is go talk to Nintendo or beg Nintendo if you want to see more Street Fighter on the Nintendo Switch, because Nintendo got involved with Street Fighter 2, for example, the custom edition that was made for the Switch. Nintendo got involved and really said, hey, we want this on the system. So let's talk about this, because we already have a ton of Street Fighter games on the Nintendo Switch already with the Anniversary Collection. I think Digital Eclipse did that one. So there's already a ton of Street Fighter to play on the system that has online, and people do have their opinions in terms of how things run and everything like that. But either way, like a lot of Street Fighter games already on the Switch. So essentially what would be happening here would be like Street Fighter 4, right? That would be the game in particular, but it does seem like there's complications here when it comes to that, because the game Street Fighter 4 is on PS3 360, but then there's like only on PS4. So in terms of newer generation systems, the only system that it's on is PS4, and that game did not come to the Xbox One from my understanding, and I might be wrong on that. I'll double check. I'll have something up if I'm wrong, but that game's only on PS4, and it launched kind of in a broken state. Then it ended up getting patched to be better, and as all of you guys already know, Street Fighter 5 is only on the PlayStation 5 in terms of consoles. Now on PC, you can pick it up there. So what we're looking at here is Street Fighter 4, because there's not a lot of other Street Fighter games that aren't already on the Nintendo Switch, or at least the best ones. We've got Third Strike. All of them that are on the collection are there for people to play, but I think that where some people got kind of a little bit peeved in terms of what he said is that we need to go talk to Nintendo or beg Nintendo for more Street Fighter. So let me go ahead and go over his quotes, and then I'll give my opinion on the matter. So, quote from Yoshinori Ono: can you go over to the Nintendo booth and maybe just like shout that at the VIPs in the backstage, because they're the ones you really need to talk to, not me. Even with our previous Nintendo title, Ultra Street Fighter 2, Nintendo came to us and said, we want to do something with Street Fighter 2 because it's been 25 years since it came out on previous Nintendo consoles. So I think they're the ones you need to convince, so go and mob that booth. So that's interesting that he said that, is that we need to go over there and talk to them. And I think he said it more jokingly than anything. Capcom put out their financial results just a little bit ago, and it actually showed off that they shipped more packaged software on the Nintendo Switch than the Xbox One, which is impressive in its own right, considering the Xbox One has been out for so much longer, but they're shipping way more. Nintendo Switch is newer, but people are buying Capcom's games at a large clip on the Nintendo Switch. So it's always like a love-hate relationship that a lot of people have with Capcom, because you see so much love that the fans kind of give to them with their games, because their games are good, especially their retro and classic library, all of the Mega Man collections and Mega Man 11 and the Zero collections and all the different stuff, Resident Evil stuff. All that stuff always does really well on Nintendo platforms, but we don't always get the newer games, right? They're really just kind of developing the newer stuff on PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and PC, and they haven't really given us many brand new games from them, and we haven't really seen as much, I would say, even like custom made game exclusives for the Nintendo Switch outside of an example here or there, but pretty much all been older games. But that's okay. Let's go ahead and talk about what he has to say right here with this. And I think that Capcom and Yoshinori Ono, I would say this, and not out of hate or disrespect, because I respect Ono. Capcom is, when it comes to things, but I respect them and their history as a developer. But I think that you guys need to convince me that Street Fighter is even worth purchasing on the Nintendo Switch, because I've seen a lot of Street Fighter post Street Fighter 4, and I'm not impressed. I'm really not impressed with what you guys are doing with Street Fighter 5. I've watched so much gameplay. That game basically put out in a horrible state when it comes to content. Why should Nintendo Switch fans, or why should I even bother with my time begging for Street Fighter, begging for more Street Fighter on the Nintendo Switch, when you guys have shown with your monetization model and with what you guys are doing with Street Fighter 5 that Street Fighter is nowhere near the franchise that it used to be? It's just not. You guys have over 100 million plus people to sell Street Fighter 5 to, and you guys botched it with the Sony deal, and it's pretty much been botched when it comes to gameplay. The only thing that's keeping this game even somewhat relevant is all the money you guys pump into commentators and the Capcom Pro Tour or anything like that. That's the only reason why this game is even still alive. If that money wasn't coming in, nobody would be watching Street Fighter V competitively, and this game wouldn't even be brought up. But Capcom shoves it in our face on Twitch and on all sorts of stuff. And even with that, the numbers still aren't great, despite Capcom spending a good bit of money on commentators and also on tournaments and having all of that stuff and flying out their teams and everything like that. So that's the only reason why this game is even somewhat relevant. But when it comes to a lot of the hardcore fighting games fans out there, everybody's already kind of moved on. I mean, you look at stuff like Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, that game gets great numbers without the help of Nintendo really at all, because Nintendo has realized that esports is not a good business investment at all. You're not going to make your money back. You're just going to essentially be just giving these people money, because that's just how everything is for the most part. Heck, Mark Cuban even talked about that, which is a video for another day. But if you look at it, they haven't convinced me that Street Fighter is even worth begging for in a very long time. Like, I don't think I need to go out there, or really anybody needs to go out there and beg Nintendo for more Street Fighter, because we've got better versions of Ryu and Ken pretty much in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, and we've also got Mega Man as well. So we've got a little bit of Capcom flavor in Smash Ultimate, and where many people feel is the superior game with Smash, the superior 2D fighting game. So I'm looking at this, Capcom. I'm the consumer. You are the developer. You are the publisher. It's your job to convince us that you want our money. It's not our job to beg for things so we can give you money. I find that just a little bit backwards, as I'm the consumer. So here's what I'll say to you, Capcom. Here's what I'll say to you. How about you guys actually worry about building a competitive, good Street Fighter game that is worth all of us begging for, especially post Smash Ultimate, right? With this game and how well it's doing, Nintendo fans got a lot to play. We've also got other 2D fighting games like Blaze Blue and SNK Heroines and all sorts of other 2D fighting games that are coming out on the Nintendo Switch and are doing well. I think Skullgirls just launched. So yeah, how about you guys actually think about making a better game? So you guys worry about that. I'm not gonna worry about begging you guys for Street Fighter when you guys have shown over the past, what, 3-4 years now that Street Fighter's been out, that it's just been a slow burn to get content in. You just added E-Honda from Street Fighter 2, he's just getting added into Street Fighter 5? That must be a joke. I looked at him like, wait a minute, he wasn't already in the game? You guys just adding E-Honda? And you're sitting here and telling me to beg for more Street Fighter? No, I'm good. How about you guys work on your game and make Street Fighter back to what it used to be? Because the name Street Fighter doesn't carry the weight like it used to carry back in the day. It really doesn't. And it's not worth begging for when you've got a lot better fighting games to play out there. And look, it's not just me being salty either, because this is stuff, I mean, I follow the fighting game community. You know, I follow the FGC on Twitter and everything. I follow what people are saying about Street Fighter and the fighting games out there. And a lot of people don't seem to think Street Fighter V really amounts to much, even with all the ultras and specials and all the different deals that they're doing with the game. I mean, I'm not even sure it's worth 20. I've always bought Street Fighter games. I've pretty much bought every single one, but Street Fighter V is a game that I skip. And I have no regrets whatsoever after watching all the different tournaments that I've watched and watched people play and everything like that. The game's not up to snuff, and Capcom needs to really focus on what they want to do for the Street Fighter franchise going forward, because you guys had plenty of people to sell the game to, and you guys even struggled with that, with Monster Hunter World absolutely obliterating Street Fighter. Think about that for a second. Monster Hunter World obliterating Street Fighter. I mean, I get it. Monster Hunter is a more marketable game in today's day. People don't play fighting games like they used to play them, but still, I mean, this is pretty bad to see how far Street Fighter has fallen from grace. So I'm not begging for Street Fighter at all. I think that Capcom, they do a lot of good stuff. I don't want to be all negative when it comes down to it. They do a lot of good stuff. I think that they make good games, and they've done a somewhat okay job on the Nintendo Switch. There is a lot of different software for people to buy, especially if you love the classics, and I'm looking forward to the Zero Collection. And they have other games that are going to be planned for the Nintendo Switch as well, so I'm not just hating on them to blind hate. It's nothing like that. And whenever there's a good game, I'll make sure to give it praise, like Resident Evil Revelations. I love that game. I bought it again on the Nintendo Switch, so that was my third time playing and beating and buying the game, you know, so it's not like I'm just blind hating on them. I bought Resident Evil 2 Remake on the Xbox One, so I'll buy their games when it's worth it. But when they say stuff like this and telling us to beg, I'm sorry, you haven't earned anything for me to beg when it comes to Street Fighter. I'm not impressed whatsoever. And that $40 Street Fighter 2, I mean, that wasn't necessarily something that people loved with the price tag and everything. So we'll see. We'll see what they do going forward in the future. But Capcom, that's okay. I'm not going to beg. Just you guys keep running your Capcom Pro Tour tournament stuff, and I'll keep watching. Just watching is fine by me. And I'll just keep on playing Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. So what are you guys' thoughts on this when it comes to what Capcom had to say here? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. All right, guys, that wraps it up for this video here. Go ahead and check out the links in the description below. We got Facebook and Twitter. Go ahead and give us a like and a follow on our social media. Hit that like button if you did like this video. Let me know you guys want more content like this going forward in the future. And subscribe to PlayerEssence for latest RPG, Japanese, and Nintendo gaming news. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll catch you guys for the next one. Peace.